Have Mike Hookem, Deputy Leader of the UK Independence Party, UKIP, who is a member of the European Parliament for now. Starting off with you, first of all, Mike, strange to think, isn't it, that one day pretty soon, because of Brexit, you may well be out of a job, and you'll be delighted.
Absolutely. I mean, we've always said that we was the turkeys that voted for Christmas. I've worked for over 10 years to get Great Britain out of the European Union. And we thought we'd done that, and this Friday we was leaving. But obviously that's not going to happen now because of a terrible deal that Theresa May's brought back from the European Union. So it looks as though we're going to be stuck here for a bit longer.
With regard to your work to get Britain out of the European Union, in your time in Strasbourg, what do you think has changed? Why are you perhaps more sceptical now than you ever were? Why has it reinforced your beliefs that Britain's better off out?
Well, because the legislation that's coming through now is been ramped up. I mean, we're getting votes now that we're doing one at lunchtime, one at 6 o'clock. You know, we never used to do that. They're shoving as much through as they can, and their position has hardened. You know, what they're giving Great Britain at the moment is a punishment deal, and it's basically saying anybody else, any one of the other 27 member states who thinks about leaving the European Union, look at what we did to Great Britain. And, you know, this is how these people are dealing with us, and we're seeing it in the chamber now. But, you know, I just think now that they're going to go for an extension to Article 15, and we will not be leaving, as was promised. I think it was 108 times by Theresa May in the Parliament that we would be leaving on Friday, and that's now not going to happen.
In terms of the broader picture across Europe as a whole, some of the predictions are that populist, if you like, or Eurosceptic parties are going to get 1/3 of the seats in the European Parliament. It's not just Britain, is it, which seems to have a problem with what's going on where you are?
No, it isn't. And I mean, people use this term populist. Well, it's terrible when you are a popular political party, as we are. And it's, you know, we are fighting for this, but we can see it right across Europe with other parties that are now fighting. Some are fighting to reform the European Union, which I don't think they will ever do, but some are going to be fighting to come out of the European Union. And I can see, with these elections that's coming forward now, I can see lots and lots more Eurosceptic parties coming in, and I think it's going to be an absolute nightmare for Mr. Barnier and Juncker and Verhofstadt and Weber and all of these federalists, you know, the Europhiles, when all of these parties actually get into that plenary and sit there and take them to task.
You're right to say that it's not a homogenous group, is it? I mean, so many of these, if you want populist parties, have different agendas. Is there any one thing with regard to the European Union upon which you think they agree?
They all detest it. That's one thing that they all say. The European Union, the way it's going now, is wrong. It's wrong for national governments. We need to be able to, as a country, and I speak on behalf of Great Britain, that we need to be out of this, you know, and we need a sovereign parliament. Again, sovereign borders, and we need to be out of this. And I think that's right across the European Union. These other parties that are coming through all say they want more say in how their countries are controlled.
And that is your main objection. Are there others?
Main objections, basically, yeah, you know, how this place runs. I mean, I've fought for years to help the fishermen of Great Britain. The fishermen are absolutely devastated by the common fisheries policy. Many of those people have gone bankrupt. There will be many more in the next 2 years that will go bankrupt. This is our waters, British fish, caught by British fishermen, landed in British ports, processed in British factories and exported around the world. You know, this is the sort of thing we want. We want now to get back to the old days where it's British manufacturing, British exports, getting out there. And, you know, this is why we say a WTO deal would be very good for us. We want to be out there trading with the rest of the world and trading with Europe and the 27 member states. We've said this from the beginning. If they give us a tariff-free deal, a bilateral agreement between Great Britain and the European Union, we'd have been very happy with that, but they wouldn't do that. They refuse to do that. So, you know, we're having to fight these people to get out of this European Union.
Mike, we will be back with you a little bit later on. Tell me about the reforms as suggested by Russell. The people are perhaps listening at last. Do you hear that?
No, the European Union, their fault has always been that they don't listen. They are right and everybody else is wrong. If when David Cameron had come over here in the first place and tried to get some reform from these people, if he'd come back with something, I don't believe the 2016 referendum would have occurred. But he came back with nothing because these people wouldn't listen to him. And they never listen. And when they are told, they just turn a deaf ear. And these people need to start listening. And we're seeing the yellow vests in France are campaigning against high fuel prices and all the rest of it. That now has been taken over by the far left, and it's now they're now taking over and destroying property and destroying jobs and everything else. But these people are not listening to this, and people are going to start demonstrating right across Europe, and I can see they're demonstrating in Great Britain as well. Europe will never listen, the EU will never listen, because they just do not think that they are wrong.
If you think these disparate groups are all intent on perhaps bringing down the European Union, and perhaps that they might be succeeding in the first steps of that, do you see any dangers in the EU crumbling?
No, I think they'll go back to national governments, sovereign governments, and we'll get back to being proud of who you are, whether you're French, German, whatever you are, and being proud of it. I'm not a European. I'm an Englishman, and I'm a Yorkshireman. That's what I'm proud of being. Never ever call me a European. I am not.
Thank you very much, Mike. Back to what Dennis is saying is, in fact, the work of people such as yourself and your Independence Party has actually had the opposite effect than it would have wanted in the rest of Europe.
Well, it's not what we're seeing. We're seeing that right across Europe, these parties are coming forward and saying that, we want what you've fought for, and we're going to do exactly the same. And when these people do get into this parliament, in July when the next parliament starts, and there'll be all these new parties in there, all these people that say some want to reform, some want to leave, they are going to have to form a huge group, because the rules that these people are bringing in now, the European Union are bringing in now, are going to make sure that the small parties, such as my own party, will not have a voice in this place. This is what we are fighting against. This is not an undemocratic building. This is anti-democratic. This is anti-democracy. And they are bringing rules in to make sure that our voice is not heard and that they shut us down. So we're going to have to form a huge group, a super group is what they're calling it, between all of these different parties, so that we've got a voice in that plenary when we come to vote and when we come to speak. And that is what these people are about, and that is why we, as a party, and many others, want to be shut of this place and want to be out of it.
Perhaps time to give the European Union
what's going to be coming through. We came in as a party to tell the people exactly what goes on in this building, and we won that referendum. It was UKIP that won the referendum in 2016. Without us, they would not have had that referendum. So we went in there and we said we will work from within to get Great Britain out of the European Union. That's all we want. If after that this whole project collapses, well, so be it. But if it carries on, so be it.
Okay, Mike, we're going to have to say goodbye.
What my party want, and what we are focusing on.
We're going to have to say goodbye. Perhaps it's going to be the last time that we talk to you in that place, but you're always welcome to come into our studios.